Well, you do La Bamba, then you do Stand and Deliver, and then you do Young Guns, co-starring Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez, and Kiefer Sutherland. So basically all the hot young actors at the time, along with you. So you're like 3 for 3, just home run after home run after home run.
Yeah, and I thought that was would give me some tenure in Hollywood, but no, not so much. It's interesting. There's a saying, in Europe, they celebrate you for your greatest work. In America, they celebrate you for your latest work. So it's and I'm actually still thrilled to be sitting here almost 40 years later. But Young Guns was certainly the moment when I feel like I had arrived. The first 2 films were small films. Who knew what they were going to do? Both, exceeded expectations hugely. But the funny thing is, I remember I got, and I had just met Kiefer. I was going into a movie, and he was coming out at the Beverly Center. And it was like, oh, hey, love your work. Oh, we should do something together. Literally 2 weeks later, I get the call, to go in to meet on Young Guns. And I read the script, and it's a Western, and I'm from Texas, and I ride a horse and all of this stuff. I'm like, whoa, this is great. My dad raised me on Westerns, and Kiefer was attached. Somebody else was attached to play Billy the Kid. Not many people know this, but at the time, it was Sean Penn. But Sean ended up not being able to do the movie because he was in jail for hitting a photographer, So they got Emilio, but this was after I actually took my meeting. So the funny thing is I read the script, I love it, love the character, but they don't tell me what scenes I'm going to audition with. So I go to 20th Century Fox, and I meet, Chris Kane, the original the director of the first one, John Fusco, who was still a dear friend, Paul Schiff, Joe Roth, so they're all sitting there, behind the table, together. And we have this great meeting, and it goes on for like 20 minutes. So there's a lull in the conversation. And I said, I'm sorry, they didn't tell me what sides to prepare, but I prepared, Chavez's speech, about the White Sands, and then I got another scene that I'm ready to do if you'd like. And Chris kind of smiles, and he looks, down the table, and everybody's kind of, grinning back at him. And I'm going, what's so funny, And Chris kind of leans forward and he goes, Lou, the part's yours if you want it. And it was like, oh, so that's how it works, And so that was the first time, I was made an offer without having to, to fight for it. And, my first day on the set, literally was like, okay, here I am. I'm arrived. I'm working with these guys.
You end up reprising your role in Young Guns 2.
Yeah.
But during the filming, there was a major accident that happens.
Yeah, that was my exit. That was my exit out of the film. It's crazy when I look back at it, today, man. And I direct a lot more now. I obviously, still do some stunts here and there. That taught me to never go against my gut. We were literally in the last week of filming. I had one scene left. There was actually one more scene with Chavez that was a backstory scene where you see him looking for his sister. And that's how we were originally going to meet him in the movie. So we had finished doing the breakout from the pit, me and Kiefer, and by the way, Bon Jovi, who, obviously did the soundtrack, but he was hanging out with us for a couple of weeks. So I said, hey, let's put him in the pit and shoot him. And, that'd be fun. We shoot Tom Cruise in the first movie, by the way. If you freeze frame there at the end, when Emilio comes out of the trunk, Tom is one of the first guys that Emilio shoots. So John Bon Jovi comes out of the pit and gets shot. You kind of can't mistake that hair in that sequence. So we finish that sequence, we're going, and now all of a sudden I'm taken to an alley, and it's like, what's this? What's this scene? He goes, oh, it's not scripted. We're just adding it, to the whole, action sequence. And I'm supposed to ride into an alley. And by the way, my horse was a horse named Arrow, and I'm riding Arrow because Arrow threw Alan Ruck in the rehearsals. Really, really high maintenance horse. So they had already bought all the horses. They couldn't get a new one. And they looked around and went, let's get Lou to ride Arrow because I'm a pretty good rider. So fine, I'm fighting Arrow for this entire movie. Arrow won't stop on a mark. Arrow's always really fidgety. So now I'm supposed to ride into this narrow alleyway on Arrow. There's a noose around my neck. And because this scene was not, scripted or whatever, it's not a breakaway noose. It's a real noose. So now there's a real noose around my neck, and it's wrapped around the saddle horn. I'm supposed to ride into the alley, stop the horse next to a wall at which there's a squib, which is an explosive device. I have plastic shackles. I'm supposed to turn in the saddle, put my hands over where the explosive is, and Emilio's going to ride in and pull off a full load by the horse's head. So bang, bang, boom, the shackles are supposed to break and we ride out. And I said to the first, what do you think's going to happen when 2 explosions go off by this horse's head? He's going to take off. And the first says, well, you're a good rider. I said, I'm a good rider with my hands on the reins. I'm turned around, almost backwards, man. Sure enough, the horse, throws me. I have to say, I give a shout out to Stevie Hanna, the wrangler, too, because he was trying everything under the sun to find a way to keep that horse in place. But it was a 3-camera setup, 1 wide and 2 close-ups, and they were behind schedule. So no, we got to get this in 1. We can't just. I said, put us on some ladders or whatever for the close-ups, man. You can blow up anything. I don't care. And sure enough, the horse throws me. And as I hit the ground, I thought 2 things. Number 1, I told you so. Number 2, the noose. And so the horse ends up dragging me by a noose around my neck for probably 100 yards, but like through a pile of kindling, through a wagon wheel. And the only thing that saved my life was at the edge of the set, in the back of the set, because the horse turned around and went the other way. They had put stunt guys in the front to catch him for me if he bolted. Was desert, man. Was desert and Mexico, So my knee got caught on a railroad tie that was part of a gate, and that snapped the rope. So it took a chunk out of my kneecap, and it broke my arm in 4 places. You can see the scar there. I was lucky it didn't kill me. So, yeah. But it makes for a great story today.
Well, yeah. A medical helicopter had to come get you and get you into surgery right away.
Yeah.
You could have actually died.
Easily. Yeah, easily. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, you mentioned, rust. We blow things up, man. There are death-defying stunts. I mean, stunt people do amazing things. That car flip in First Power, man, put that stunt driver in the hospital for months. So I mean, bad things happen, and you have to be very, very careful. And now we're much, much more aware of that. And it's safety first. And after Brandon, on set, there's not a gun on set that I don't check. I have to see it. I have to look at it. I have to make sure anybody that's around that gun sees that gun. It's the protocol now. They got lazy on rust, and not just lazy. It was unforgivable. In many instances. You have to be aware that we're making fantasy. We're making make believe. But that there are very, very real repercussions if you are cavalier about it.